So I have my boot that I have painted, and for your information, because I didn't film this part for good reason, I used the Color Tool Spray brand. Purple is the color, and I got this off the Joann's website. They do not have the color I want in store. I don't know. They had a small section of colors in store if they still have them there. But it worked pretty well. I pretty much just sprayed on a couple coats and coated the inside of the boot with like painter's tape and filled it with newspaper so that way it kind of kept its shape. And it's worked out pretty well. The boot is like just a rain boot and it's made out of like rubber, so I'm not super convinced about the paint's durability to sticking. But we're just going to go with it, and it's just going to last me for one con. If I need to, I can go back and change things. So, as you can see, this is a nice, clean boot. What we're going to do is we're going to take this, and we're going to transform it into something that looks a little bit like this. Very much mucked up, just to kind of get a little bit more realistic with some dirt and mud and stuff. So, to kind of give you an idea of the tools I'll be using, I have one very cheap plastic paintbrush, and one also quite cheap foam brush.
It looks the same color as your boot.
It almost is, yeah. It's a very old and ancient piece of sponge, which we just use for a couple things. And I just have some black paint, some brown paint, and some gray paint. So, some people swear by like the burnt umber brown or something like that. I don't know. I didn't really want to go to the store and buy new paint, so I'm just using what I have. And it's working so far. So, we're good. And so we're going to start off with a brown. You don't want a whole lot of paint on your brush because you're just going to kind of lightly sponge it on just to give it some texture and try and get some of that dirt into the crevices of the boot, where dirt would most likely find a home. And then we're going to take a Kleenex and just kind of pat it down. So that helps disperse the texture, and it just kind of lightens it up so you don't immediately realize it's paint. Be like, and here's Kay joining us with her wonderful sarcastic shirt.
Indeed.
That I purchased for her.
It has sarcasm.
What does it say?
Let's see if I can remember. Before you judge someone, try walking a mile in the shoes, because then you're a mile away and you have their shoes. I mean, life lessons to live by.
Amen.
I saw the exact same saying on Twitter, or not Twitter, Whisper, and I was like, and it got like all these hearts and whatnot, and I was like, that's dumb. I have a t-shirt that says that.
It's like, I've had that t-shirt since like 2000 and...
middle school.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Into middle school.
Ugh, it's still 2000s. It's been 2000s for a while. It's gonna be 2000s for a while.
For I don't know,
about
maybe
100
like 1,000 years.
Oh wait. Yeah, that's right. Well, no, just 100, because like then 2020, 21,000.
Okay, I guess.
Or whatever.
I thought you meant like the beginning number of the years too, and I was like, it's gonna be that for a long while. We don't even know if the Earth's gonna make it that long, you know what I'm saying?
Sun could very well go out, or more exciting things could happen.
Yep. Zombie apocalypse, always a possibility.
I was gonna talk about the Return of Christ, but that works too.
Why not both? No.
If there was a zombie apocalypse, would you survive? And then what would your weapon of choice be?
I was like, honestly, I probably wouldn't survive.
Yeah. Yes, probably be like a voiceover, but we may or may not. You want to wave to the camera?
Keep random snippets of our conversation.
Yeah, just be like, oh, by the way. Okay, I'm just going to put this over here so that way I know what I'm doing. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
It is. Okay. Alright. Now we're going to start breaking into the black. I'm just going to lift this up so y'all can see what I'm doing. That's really wet. let's wait for a second.
Intermission dance break.
I like to take some of the black and kind of blend it with some of the brown. Not a whole lot, but just so it gets a little bit darker, and then I kind of add more black, and then I sort of splurt things. Like that. And we just kind of go in through the, just kind of splatter things and get the whole paint splatter kind of a vibe.
Have you ever done like credit card painting?
What?
You think I'm insane right now, don't
What do
you?
you, wait, what'd you ask? I didn't quite hear. Credit card what?
Painting.
Oh, I thought you said something else.
What on earth do you think I
I
said?
thought you said credit card dating, and I was like, I don't get
credit
it.
card, you're the only one for me.
Where it's like you
Don't
put your
ever-
credit cards in a pile, and then you pick one, and then whoever's
And that's
name
your
you get, it's like,
oh, if it's
who you
myself,
talk,
guess
I
I'm
don't
forever
know.
alone. But no, it's
Credit
you
card
take
dating.
acrylic paint
Is
and
it,
you
like,
either
spinning?
do it on wood or like a thicker paper or even canvas.
Yeah.
And you use the credit card to spread the paint, and you do multiple colors, and it ends up becoming a very textured painting.
Uh-huh.
When it's all said and done, it has all these colors mixed into it. You usually choose 2 colors, and then like you'll have them right next to each other on the plate, and you dip the credit cards, and one half of the credit card has one color, one half has the other, and you kind of use that to paint, and you spread it across.
So it's like using a cheap palette knife.
Essentially.
Sort of, yeah, something.
Essentially. I mean, of course, you use either credit cards that are expired or just the ones that get sent to you in the mail, and you're just like,
Yay. So finally, we're gonna use this little this purple foam thing. That's not even foam. This thing.
it's a sponge.
It's a sponge. It's a fake sponge. To make scuff marks, sort of. And we're gonna use the gray paint, which is why I said gray. And I'm just gonna kind of do little smears along the sides of the boot. Yay.
The other boot, I
don't know,
legit
I
thought it
just,
had
like-
been scuffed up, and I was like, how'd you do that already?
What, that boot?
Yeah.
Like with the gray or just with like
Yeah,
the...
with the gray.
Yeah, I know,
It's
it
been
looks
actually
cool.
scuffed up.
It
and
looks
I
so
was like,
cool!
Were you wearing one purple ring?
You got painted mud on it, and have I scratched my... Okay. And like it looks good. Okay. And then that's... Is that it? Are we done here? Think we might be done. We're done. Okay. That's one side. To save battery power, I'm just gonna shut off, and there you go.
Hope for the best.
So here we are, several months later, with the finished product. This is after I've worn it to the con, and as you can see, it didn't really hold up very well to walking around and such. I mean, I still think the acrylic mud that we put on there is looking pretty nice, but I'm probably going to have to get new boots for whenever I want to do this next. So, note to self, rubber doesn't really paint well. Even though this didn't work out so well for me, I hope that, you know, mucking up your what other projects that you have works out for you, and that you enjoyed this video.